WL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the country. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of over there? Because over there, they don't care about you. They don't care about what you have to say. They don't read any of the comments. They think we're just a bunch of clowns in the comment section of Twitter, YouTube, and all that. They talk down to us. They say this all the time, but I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. And so I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is amazing, then also please let me know in the comments below. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's really turning into something truly special. And I really want you to be part of it. I want to build something that we truly feel connected to, something that we're really excited and proud to be part of. And I think we can honestly do it. And so please consider subscribing, because I really want to build this, and I really think we can. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of Speak, talking about if Tua Tagovailoa needs, pretty much to a playoff win or just play well in the playoffs to secure a long-term contract. I have some thoughts on this, but I'll share it afterwards.
James Jones, here is a question that the world needs answered, because this is pivotal for the landscape of football. Does Tua need a playoff win to secure a long-term deal, to be the franchise guy, to get real commitment from the Miami Dolphins?
I think he does. I think he has to make a run in the playoffs for them to say, hey, man, here go 230, 40, 50, whatever it may be, $1 million for 5 years. You are our guy, right? I think he has to make a run in the playoffs. And the reason why is, as good as we think this offense is, when they have played winning teams, they ain't scored over 20. Like, you look, they lost to the Bills. He had 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 20 points. Lost to the Eagles, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Lost to the Chiefs, 190 yards, 1 touchdown. Got beat down by the Ravens, right? 240 yards, 2 TDs, 2 picks, 19 points scored. And then the last time they played the Bills, 170 yards, 14 points scored, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. These are the dudes you're going to have to go through in the AFC. Exclude the Eagles, but these are the dudes you're going to have to play. So when you ask me if he can't go in the playoffs and make some noise, this is our last impression of what we got of you going into the offseason. And I know the 5th-year option is already picked up for you. So I would make him play on that 5th-year option, see how well you play, and if you play extremely well coming into that next season under your 5th-year option, if you don't deliver in the playoffs, we will go from there. But I think just right now, you going out here losing to the Kansas City Chiefs and them saying, here go 5 years, $230 million, whatever the money may be or years may be, committing to him, I think you're taking a chance.
But, Joy, it never works out when quarterbacks play on the 5th-year option. Nope. It never works out when quarterbacks play on their contract year for either. Think about Dak Prescott. He played on his 4th year of a 4-year deal. He wasn't a first-round pick. Dak Prescott gets hurt, and the Cowboys have to pay him an exorbitant amount of money. Think about Lamar Jackson last year. He's in his 5th year of a 5-year deal, if you will. Lamar Jackson ends up getting hurt. Could he have come back? We don't know if it's because he was hurt or because he wanted more money. Lamar Jackson ends up tweeting in the offseason, hey, I don't want to play for the Baltimore Ravens anymore. They end up paying him more money than they would have had to pay him had he just signed before this. It don't work out for nobody. So I hear what James is saying, Joy, but break down for me, what does Tua need to do to remove all of the nonsense and be worth that 5-year, $230 million deal?
Just win, baby.
Just win.
Well, and that's the thing. Okay. Let me be on the record again saying that I like Tua. I love Tua as a person, okay? I think he's an awesome person. He's someone who I want to succeed, who I want to see succeed, not only, in the NFL, but just at life in general, He's just a good, genuine person of what I can see and know. Obviously, he's not my best friend. He doesn't, come over for sleepovers, okay, growing up. So I only know him so well. But of what I can see, he's just someone who I want, to root for and see succeed. With that being said, Tua is not this show-stopping elite quarterback. At least not yet. Maybe one day, but as of right now, he is not. So the way to move forward with Tua is pretty clear. He can't take this max money There's this whole idea with these quarterbacks where it's just like next in line, right? They're just constantly going higher and higher and higher and higher. And the truth is like, it can't just continue to work like that, because you have to prove that you're worth that money. Baker Mayfield's, up for a new contract. He doesn't just get max money because, well, I'm a quarterback and, that's what happens. It's like, no, you haven't proven to be this difference maker. Just like not every single wide receiver, every single running back, or, defensive end, whatever, just gets this max money reset the market contract. You have to prove that you are, him, that you are this player. And Tua just has not done that. He really hasn't. And with the risk of the injury, which is just going to loom over him, it just is. It's just the reality. It's hard to get those multiple concussions, and especially the way they happened with his hands and all that. I remember watching that live. That is brutally difficult to just get out of your mind. You just can't just casually get it out of your mind. And when you watch a Josh Allen go up against the Dolphins and just slam into the players and just sacrifice his body and just get up like it's nothing, you just know in your heart Tua can't do that. Most players can't do that. And even a Josh Allen can only do that so many times before his body will fail on him, quite honestly. So it's not even like necessarily like a knock on Tua per se. And so Tua, a playoff win does not guarantee that you now just get this like long-term bag. I mean, like maybe if he goes against KC and just lights them up, right? Throws for like, I don't know. I hate making up numbers like these, but 3+ touchdowns, 350 yards. Like, I don't know. He just lights them up and it's just a wallop. But even then, the Kansas City Chiefs are not that good this year. So it's like not the most, that won't even necessarily be the most impressive thing out there, quite honestly. But it would definitely help him. But I just think like, I don't know. Even if he wins, let's say they even won the Super Bowl, okay? Look at it how when the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles as their backup quarterback. They knew at the heart that Nick Foles was still just a backup quarterback. But he went on a run and played unbelievable, outdueling the GOAT Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl MVP. And the next season he had to sit back on the bench. And, and then he got to play for, Jacksonville. And unfortunately, he got injured, but also still did not pan out there. And then he went to the Bears. I mean, he went all over and he still failed. And he failed before the Eagles, like he just wasn't good enough and consistent enough. But he will forever be in my heart, So, and that's just the reality. And so with Tua, even if he was fortunate enough to like go on this crazy run and win a Super Bowl, I don't know if you could just still give him max. I mean, like maybe if it's just like if he just turns into Superman, but I mean, to me that's a ridiculous scenario because it's just not. I just don't see it happening. And if it does happen, it's not because Tua suddenly just became Superman. It's just you'll be able to point to other reasons why it happened, and it's not all because of Tua, of course. So I think the best way to move forward with Tua is, having him understand that the way to move forward in the NFL is, like we will keep you, but you cannot take this max money. Like we have to have the money to be able to beef up the offensive line, to beef up our offensive weapons, to make sure we continue to keep these elite wide receivers, that we get a great, defensive line, that we do this to put ourselves in situations to win. Because if we pay you top dollar, and we pay you max money, then we can't afford to keep some of these players, or we can't sign these new players, and then we're not going to be as good, and you're not good enough to overcome these things. In fact, most quarterbacks are not good enough. Even Patrick Mahomes suffers and struggles when he doesn't have a great offensive line or great wide receivers. We've seen that not even just this year, but years, past as well. They didn't have a great offensive line, and Patrick Mahomes got smoked in the Super Bowl. People love to forget that. And they're like, oh, well, Tom Brady won, and it's like, well, Tom Brady didn't go up against, Patrick Mahomes one-on-one. This isn't basketball here. So that's just what happens. And then this year, Travis Kelce's older, no more Tyreek Hill and all of that. And it's like, well, best of luck. It's not looking great, is it? They can't even score more than 21 points a game. So most players, most quarterbacks can't do that. So the problem is, though, is that when you pay an average but with that said, Patrick Mahomes is still good enough to at least make it close enough, to at least give you a chance, right? You still have a chance. You can still win a Super Bowl and still even get to the Super Bowl because he is still good enough, not to mention combine that with the genius of Andy Reid, which theoretically you probably believe you have somewhat of a genius in, your head coach right now, McDaniel, which I believe he is a great head coach, but he obviously doesn't have the consistency and the resume and the longevity of, say, like an Andy Reid or even a Sean McVay or Shanahan just yet. So he's kind of still technically unproven so far. So I think that is the best way to move forward to it. You just can't pay him top dollar. You can't pay him max contract, even if he, plays pretty well in the playoffs, because that will hurt you in the long term, because you will have to let go of players, or you won't be able to sign other big names in the free agency, and you won't be able to do it. Everyone also seems to forget that the way how Tom Brady was able to make so much of his money was by not taking these exorbitant contracts. I mean, I don't remember exactly what the numbers are, but it's something like the moment a quarterback takes like a certain percentage of the salary cap, you don't win Super Bowls. Like it just like doesn't happen. And that makes sense. You need to have other players around you. You just do. Whether you're Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter. You need to have a good team around you. I mean, do we really think that Tom Brady, at all his Super Bowls, were just all because of Tom Brady? We don't think it had anything to do with the team around him. Is Tom Brady really just like 4 Super Bowls better than, say, a Peyton Manning or an Aaron Rodgers? It's just not true. In fact, most people, a lot of people, I want to say most people, but many people would say, especially for years, that Aaron Rodgers was just a better actual quarterback than Tom Brady. And same thing with even Peyton Manning, that he was just that he was actually just a better quarterback. But obviously you can't deny Tom Brady leadership and winning all these Super Bowls and, doing all that. So it becomes harder to argue when you're just like, well, look how many rings I have compared to you. Which also does count in his greatness just because of what he did with his contract and the way how he could attract talent and people wanted to play with him and stuff like that. So it all factors in. And so I think ultimately that's where you're at with Tua. You just can't, and I hope Tua has the awareness of that. If I was Tua, I don't know if I would take this bet on myself. We always hear about the people who bet on themselves and win. You never hear about the people that bet on themselves and lose. I got news for you. I bet on myself plenty and I've lost plenty, and I guarantee you have too, okay? We've all lost and failed miserably. Not everyone is a winner. Not everyone wins consistently. Not everyone wins more than they lose. I mean, and a lot of times it just feels like, can we just break even? Seriously, at life. So it just feels like, can we just break even? But we hear the stories of the players of, even like a Kirk Cousins, who just kept taking, the 1-year contracts and stuff like that and was able to kind of make his money, and, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, like all these types of things. Fortunately, Tua has already made, because you make a lot of money just from being like a first round pick and just the number of pick that he was as a quarterback. Like, I think I looked this up before. Like, I think he's already made like $40-50 million or something like that. I forget exactly. So if I'm wrong, let me know. But it is like a legitimate, it's enough where he not technically, unless he's a moron with his money, which I doubt he is, he never has to work ever again. Really, no one in his family, for generations, as long as you are just not done with your money and invest in just basic, general, secure investments, you will be able to live off of the interest for the history of your family's life, like you just will. So that's already theoretically generational wealth. But with that said, if I was him, I would not want to just go willingly play on the 5th-year contract. Look at what happened to Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield kind of played injured and banged up, and then he got dropped, and now he's been fighting for a large part to kind of stay in the league. And they're probably more willing to give Baker the benefit of the doubt, one, because he was a number 1 draft pick, and 2, he doesn't have this concussion risk looming over him that Tua does have. whether you agree or not, that is what Tua has looming over him. Tua gets one more concussion and no team's going to really feel comfortable paying him $200 million. No team's going to feel comfortable paying him $150 million. They're just not. They're just not. I just don't see it. So if I was him, I would absolutely just try to get the contract this offseason to secure the extension. Don't fight for max money, okay? You're not going to get it. And if you play on your 5th year, you would have to play out of your freaking mind. And he's comparing it to like a Lamar Jackson. And I'm sorry, but Tua is not Lamar Jackson. He's just not. And so I think if you're Tua, and again, I don't know what the numbers end up being. Like, I don't know if he gets 150, 180, instead of 250, he gets 200. Like, I don't know. But whatever. Take that money that you can get right now, because that is enough money. Now, not only do you get to play with Miami, a team that you're comfortable with, that is your home team, essentially, right? They drafted you, so the fans are behind you. I can tell you the fans are behind you because you're all up in my comment section, okay? The fans are behind you. I assume the media, I don't have access to Miami media. I'm not living in Miami. So I assume the Miami media are behind you. Your coach is behind you. You've connected with your coach. You're at your home. You don't want to, move on and go to Atlanta Falcons, where if you have one bad season or a few bad games, the fans are going to be in the media are going to say, bench Tua. We want whoever's behind you. Like, that's what happens, right? Or you get sent to the Panthers or, gosh, who knows where. The Commanders, like any of these random teams, the moment you have a couple bad games, it's get this guy out of here. And you're certainly not getting money. You are home in Miami. The weather, the culture, it's fun. It's nice. You have the players around you that support you, and you have, your head coach that supports you. So stay there. Be there. You'll make more money than 99% of the world out there. Be happy with that. You don't need, let go of the ego. You don't need max contract. You don't need massive money. It's okay. And guess what? If you prove me wrong, that everything I just said was wrong, that you shouldn't have taken max money and this, that, and that you're elite and you're great and you can stay healthy, then you're going to be able to renegotiate your contract. Because within a year or two, you'll either play so well and so amazing, win MVP, win a Super Bowl, get to an AFC Championship game, whatever it is, and then you say, yo, I took a discount for you. You told me X, Y, and Z. Give me my money. And they will give you your money, or you will be able to get your money. Historically, that is what has happened with quarterbacks. If you've proven to be that guy, they will do right by you, or you will go to another team that will happily pay you that money. They just will. A lot of teams end up being just a quarterback away, or they're just desperate and they need something to like rejuvenate, their franchise or organization. And then you'll be that guy. Or the Dolphins will say, okay, great. You are amazing. Thank you. This, that. You clearly are proven to be him and healthy and can lead us. The next year, the next contract is going to be a $300 million contract, or whatever it is. So you'll still make out. So at the end of the day, you would have only lost out on, I don't know, again, making up numbers here, $50 million, which in the grand scheme of things will be nothing. It will be nothing. It will be. It's funny to say $50 million is nothing, but in the grand scheme of things of how much money you'll end up making in your career will be nothing, not to mention the more success you have, especially once you can make it to the AFC Championship games or Super Bowls, then you're going to just be all over on the commercials. Then you get all that commercial money. You make that money back on the back end, okay? So just do it. I beg you, just do it, okay? Just do it. And the fans will respect you, and the locker room will respect you. And like I said, if you outplay that contract, you will get that money back anyway. You just will. And to me, that's the way you move forward. That's the way you kind of go about it. But, what do you guys all think? I have strong feelings on this. I really do, because I want to see him succeed. And the best way for him to succeed is in Miami and not taking max dollar. So I'm very passionate about it. But what do you all think? Do you think what I'm saying is ridiculous, or do you think what I'm saying makes total sense? I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. So please let me know in the comments below. And please don't forget to subscribe. I'm running out of breath right now, and I'm thirsty. I'm all fired up right now. But please don't forget to subscribe. We're building an amazing community here. It's really turning into something special, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps with the visibility and the algorithm, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and see you next time.